Guess who's back? Guess who's back? The gentleman's hour. We haven't been on in a couple of weeks, bro. I don't know what's going on. But before we even start, I wanted to just kind of go over what we're doing now because this is something a little bit different. So we have the Beady Boys podcast, which, me and Des do, and then we have guests, whatever. But then I was like, damn, me and Louie we got a little something going here. You know what I mean? Like we both are fathers. We both think we're pretty funny. We're both about the same age, raising kids. You got a little bit younger than I do, but all the way up through. My daughters are in college. Your daughter, 22 already or 20?
22, bro. Should be 23
20
in December. Yeah.
22, and then your youngest is 10.
She'll be 10 in November. 9.
10.
She's 9.
So you got the whole spectrum.
All across the board.
All across the board. But I'm thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe we should switch it up instead of always trying to be funny and me trying to throw out corny ass jokes and piss off my chick and all that. Why don't we go more? Why don't we go more for like our take on raising kids? It's just like advice, And you know where I got this from? You sent this catchphrase or whatever. Just two gentlemen solving your problems, one topic at a time. Hey,
Yes,
so
sir.
I think we could bring a little value, you know what I mean? And we could add our own little comedy flair, little spice to it, right?
Yeah.
But so I think, and we talked this over. Let's go over just like issue, not even all issues, but just like experience with whatever raising kids or experience with the wives over this, that, whatever. And I think it'll be a little bit more genuine, authentic,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll do some crazy shit here and there too.
Some
You know what I mean?
shenanigans in the mix. Yeah, of course.
Shenanigans in the mix.
Of
So,
course.
and this is also your title. So you sent me a couple topics to go over, bro. When you sent this one, I was cracking up. I was like, this is perfect. I want to use this for two shows, one for raising daughters and one for raising boy. This one's for
Hell
raising
yeah.
a boy, but the title or the catchphrase, whatever you want to call it, the scariest hood. And I've been to a couple scary hoods. The scariest hood is actually Parenthood. It's not East
Oh,
LA. It's not South Central. It's not Pacoima. It's Parenthood, bro. And
is
that's 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. It's an understatement in my opinion. Because good lord, I mean, nothing prepares you for any of this. Any of this.
And most of the time you're young. You got no experience. So, so the title for this one is "What They Don't Tell Fathers About Raising Sons,"
Mm.
and then we'll do one on raising daughters because to me it's totally different.
Oh
Totally
yeah, for
different.
sure. Yeah.
But why don't we start just like a little background? Like, what were you? Obviously, your firstborn wasn't your son; it was your daughter. But like a little background, like how old were you? What were you feeling? Were you like, oh damn, no, or were you like, hey, shit, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm wet behind the ears, but I'm ready to give it a
Yeah.
shot. Like, give me a little background on the first time you found out you were going to be a dad and what you were thinking, and yeah, a little background.
Like you said, Nicholas is my son. He's just turned 14 on Saturday. Um, Dude, when we found out, um, it was a kick in the pants for sure. It wasn't planned. I think I have three, and there's only one that was planned, which is the last one. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I said, I was already a dad. Thought I was ready, and then when we found out it was a boy, I was like, oh man, I don't know how to raise a boy. Like I've raised this girl, and I thought I was doing good, but man, it's totally different. It's stuff that you don't know you know you're gonna go through with it until you're going through it. You know what I mean? And it's fun, but it's also very 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 hard, very difficult.
Right, right. Quick question, because I know for me, my daughters were first, and then my son
Mhm.
was like 4 years later. But did you have the same kind of thought I had, which was I'm having a boy? So right after the girls, which were twins, I already have two, and that's all I ever even wanted was just two kids. But then it was like, okay, I want a boy. Boom, the next one, boy. But if I wouldn't have had a boy, I think I would have kept going. Um,
Damn, till you got a boy.
my yeah, my grandfather, who I never really met, he had three girls before he finally had his son. But he was like, no, I'm gonna get my son. And that for me, yeah, I think I mean, unless it was like I'm at girl number 5, then it might be time to hang it up. For me, even though you're right, I didn't know what I was doing. But you ever heard that saying, like, you're too dumb to even realize, like, you're too dumb to even realize what kind of trouble you're in. I didn't even, it wasn't even a thought in my head. It was just like, okay, I finally got my boy, and da 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 da. And that, was it the same for you? Like, oh man, like I got my
Um,
boy, I'm good.
you know what? It was because when we found out it was gonna be a boy. I said, okay, cool. This is something different. This is something I'm not used to. And like I said, I think the one of the first thoughts was like we've spoken before is the bloodline.
Right,
I
right.
said, okay, cool. Like obviously he's gonna be an Aguilar. And he's gonna carry another branch. But I think the it didn't set in until I actually held him when he was born, and I'm like, damn, like okay, cool. This is a boy. Like it's different. I mean, he was twice the size as Cass when she was born.
Yeah.
You know, he was a big boy, and I mean, it's like you don't see it until they start coming into their own. Like, damn, this little kid he's funny, dude. He's amazing. He was a menace. He's like, they're rough around the edges, and they're not very sweet, and they don't like hugs, and they don't like kisses, and it's
Right,
like,
right.
and I think I kind of I like that, because I obviously the girls are a lot more loving, but I mean he was very loving until he wasn't.
Okay, so let's start there because I have some random questions, but you're starting to hit a couple of the topics. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So that one, that's actually a good one. So I will ask you first, then I'll give you my perspective. But like, so you were saying he's not that loving, but I know what you mean. Like when they're young, yeah, they run up in your arms, hugs, all that stuff. But as they get, I don't know, junior high, or even
I
before
think
that, 10,
I think
11, 12, they
every kid's
start to,
different. I think every
yeah.
kid's different. Yeah.
But the boys start to kind of like go give them a hug, and they're a little like, oh,
Yeah.
they want to just give you a high five or a pound or something. So, have you noticed that? Are you still able to like go give him a hug? Do you tell him I love you? Are you still able to do that the way what you would when he was younger, or do you kind of keep it like, oh, I want to keep it cool, just what's up, Nico? Da, da, da.
like,
What's your perspective on that?
like the rent's due on the first, fool. Break yourself. No, it's you know what it is. You know what it is. It's I think when he was born and he was little, I just kind of carried over with I knew from Cass, and it was always like because like I always changed his diaper, I fed him, I gave him a bath, everything. I was always there, and
Did you do that because you wanted to, or because it was like you had to? Like Laura was at work,
it
or
was actually well, and technically I had to because Laura was working evenings,
okay,
and we kind of like swapped. Like she would be off during the day, I'd come home from work, and then I would have him, and I mean obviously it needs to be done, but
right?
also I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed doing stuff like that. I've never had a problem with it. But you know what? It's like I carried over, and I was like all hugging and kissing him, and then I think it was maybe when he started school, and I think I went to like give him a hug and a kiss, and it was just a hug. He kind of like hugged me and then just
Yeah,
took off. I was like, all
yeah.
right, cool. I get it. I'm not gonna, And even now, like even to this day, every day when I come home, I hug him and I kiss him on the top of the head. Nothing on the cheek, nothing on the face, but it's on the top of the head. And when we're out in public, he's like a homie. Like we're just like homies. We're
Right,
whatever.
right, right.
We run into people that he knows at Costco and whatever. And I don't crowd him, bro. Like give him a space, and he knows. And like I said, when it's just him and I, he's fucking cool. Give me a hug,
Right.
give me a kiss on the top of the head. Tell him I love him every day, and then we're good. So that
See,
hasn't changed. But in public, yeah, it's a different story.
it's
I
a
give him a
different, yeah.
space. He doesn't. He's not a disrespectful kid. He's not like inconsiderate. He's not trying to like, hey, leave me alone, dad. Don't embarrass me. Like he knows, and then I kind of know. I kind of put myself in his shoes at that age, and I was like, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have liked that.
I wonder how it's gonna get as they get even older. You know what I mean? Because you're not gonna be giving him a kiss on the head when he's like, 19 or
When he's
20.
6'2", when he's six
Yeah.
two.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
I mean, literally, I can't kiss him on the head because he's too tall. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
No, I
think
mean,
I think a good hug is still like you could give your parents a hug right now. You know what I mean? So like, I think as long as you let them know through because I like that too. I would give my son a kiss on the cheek if I could. I don't remember the last time I did when he was probably real little, but I hug him couple of times a day, sometimes joking, like, hey, get over here, duh, and just
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, for
and
sure.
and to pull him in. But every night before I go to bed, I walk up to his room,
Eh,
hey, I'm going to bed, and I go and I give him a real hug, like squeeze him a little, like make him get a little uncomfortable, like you know what I mean, like squeeze him, and hey, all right, good night, and then we always end it with good night, love you too, all right, see you in the morning. But I want to, I hope that doesn't die out when he eventually goes to college or whatever. He comes back and he's like, hey, what's up, Paul? I'm like, what?
what's up?
What the hell?
Yeah,
Where's my hug, bro? Where's my,
yeah. Give
But
me your
yeah,
bathrobe, homie.
it's weird, but you're right. There is a difference because like
Yeah.
my daughters, I feel like I could give a hug and a kiss. Who knows? Maybe their whole lives. Like I don't feel any, and I don't feel like they're embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like right now they're in college, but when they come home, as soon as they walk in the door, I'm gonna give them a hug and
Yeah.
a kiss on the side of the head or something. And I feel like that will stay forever. I don't know. Maybe that's just the difference between girls and boys.
But I think you're right. Yeah, because I feel the same way. And I mean, like I said, Cass is probably 23, and I mean, she still does it. I do it. It's like I feel, I mean, comfort totally. So
I think if you do it, like you start that from an early age, it just becomes like a normal thing. You know what I mean? So it's not like
hmm
all weird. It's not all da 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 da. Because I know we were both raised different. I don't. I have a bad memory, so I don't remember. But I don't remember a lot of hugs and definitely no kisses. I don't think my parents. I don't remember them telling me "I love you." Maybe in cards and stuff. I've said this before on the thing, and I'm sure
yeah,
they have. I'm sure my mom has or whatever. I don't really remember. They weren't that like they were like a show their affection in different ways. You know what I mean? But it wasn't
yeah.
like a physical. But I could tell by like their actions or the things they do or how they support. You know what I mean? Like I could tell like that there is love there. I just don't think
Well, let me
people
let me ask you
realize.
this: Do you
Yeah.
do you feel? Because I'm kind of the same way. Like I think I talked to you and Des last time when we were in person, and I told you I was looking for a picture that was taken the same day where my mom was holding me like a baby, and my dad's literally just standing, and I'm like sitting on the floor in the grass, like he wouldn't hold me.
Oh yeah
Like,
yeah yeah yeah. You said
yeah,
that.
like let me ask you this: Do you feel like you needed that? Because I know, like me, like
That's a
I'm
good
a hugger.
question.
I'm a
Yeah
hugger
yeah
straight
yeah.
up.
That's a good question, and honestly, I don't know because I wouldn't have realized that until I
Because you
had
didn't have it.
kids. And then it was like that's why it was weird. It was like, hey, why come my parents don't want to hug me and tell me they love? Because like, man, honestly, I get the most joy. If you told me right now I could go in the living room and just sit on the couch with my arm around my son and we could just watch a movie and like literally be like cuddling, I'd be like, I'll take that over anything. Or with my
Yeah, yeah,
daughter,
yeah.
or with my daughters, like when they used to be here and we'd be on the couch and one would sit real close and like, oh, what's up, Al? Or Ma, da da da. I'll take that over anything. I would do that if you said every single day you could, hug and cuddle with your kid. I would take that every day. So it's like, so sometimes when parents aren't affectionate, I'm like, what, why? I guess they're just that's how some people are built. You know what I mean? It's hard to express it, but for me, it's like any kind of touch or emotional connection that I can
Yeah.
get, I love it. But then again, maybe that's also because I don't feel like I got a bunch of that, when I was younger. And not saying, my mom didn't hug me, like she would and stuff, but it wasn't like I didn't feel like it was overly, like every day I was getting hugs and kisses and all that. And so your question, do I feel like by the time I realized like, that's a thing, like like me with my kids, it was like I was already older. It was already like, yeah, you look back, yeah, it probably would have been cooler. We probably would have a different relationship now, me with my parents, but neither one is a bad relationship. You know what I mean? There's people that have bad relationships,
Or
you know,
non-existent
or
relationships.
non-existent. Both of my relationships right now are actually like pretty good. I was just thinking about my dad the other day. I was like, I haven't talked to my dad, bro. I gotta make time because it's just been so busy right now. Right now is like peak. It's like start the summer and it's gonna be like every weekend is something popping off. But it's like I have to make time to do that. Same thing with my mom. We try to go over there like once a week for Sunday dinner or just go over and hang out. And even I don't think we've been over there in 2 weeks. So it's gotta try to, I do crave that, just being around your parents regardless. So, whatever, even if you're not there for anything specific or just being around, it's
Just
comforting.
because. Yeah,
Just
just because.
because, yeah. But yeah, to your question, I don't know. I mean, I know I probably would have been different. I don't know, good or bad. I don't know. But yeah, that's a really good question. By the time I realized, you know, and most of the people I hung around, or like my cousins, none of them, they all had the same relationship with their parents too. Like, you know, you could tell they loved them, but none of them were hugging them and I love you. Da-da. I got more I love yous from my aunts and like, oh, I love you, Polly. Da-da.
Yeah,
But I always felt loved and I always felt cared for, and I still do to this day. You know what I mean? If I need anything, I know I can go to either one if I needed.
yeah.
So I definitely felt the love. I know there is love there, and I think it was just a different generation. They didn't always show it, but that's a good question, bro. Like if you don't get something, I don't know. Do you
Like,
realize
well,
you
yeah, because I
missed
mean,
it or need it?
I didn't have that, and I know for a fact, like I love that, dude. Exactly, I'm like the same way as you. Sometimes I'm like, dude, like when I, especially like when you start to realize it, like I said, when I dropped him off at school and he was like just a hug, not a kiss on the cheek, I was like, all right, cool. And then it just now it's a hug, now it's like a pound, now it's like a late. I'll see you later. Like it goes away. But I mean, like I said, I still have it here at home, which is good. Take that all day, every day. Like it's a connection and it's a feeling that, I mean, you can't beat that to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
I
a
like
lot.
that too. I like that too. Okay, so the first kind of question: raising a boy or a man? And I
Ooh,
know, so I'll ask you first. Like, are you? I mean, obviously, you're trying to do both. You raise. He's a boy. You're raising a boy, but eventually, you do want to raise a good, man. He's gonna be independent. That eventually has good values. That can hopefully have his own family and carry on what you started. Are you aware right now? Because Nico's 14, so he's still young. But like, are you aware of like, okay, I got to start teaching him these things, or this is going to make him more of a man? So to be ready for the world, because it's harsh out there. You and I aren't going to be around forever. So do you tackle some of those tougher topics or situations that in order to make him ready for this world? I want to raise a man basically. And what do you think that entail? Like, what do you do that you think is doing that?
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's I think probably the hardest thing that I've come to realize about raising a boy is that eventually they become a man, and you want him to be a respectable man. And personally, I've taken certain things where I think the number one thing is I try to teach him to be respectful towards women.
Right.
He tends to have like a boy mentality and a boy whatever, and I have to sometimes remind him like, dude, we live in a house of with three other females, and one of them is your mom, and the other ones are your sisters. Like you need to understand that I want them to be strong and independent, take care of themselves, but you also need to be respectful of females. I think the number one thing is just being able to be like useful, like learn how to fix stuff, learn how to snake a drain, learn how to if he wants to get into HVAC, I got him.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want him
good.
to work with his hands, but I don't push him away. I guess if I think he needs to learn certain things as far as fixing stuff around the house, whatever. I mean, he's actually made a comment where he's like, "Well, I can just call you," because I think I asked him like, "Hey, well, what are you gonna do?" He's like, "Well, I would just call you," and I'm like, "Well, shit, yeah, you're right." But at the same time, like you said, we're not gonna be around, and I also want to explore this world by once their kids are gone from the house, and maybe I'm not gonna be in town, and maybe
Right,
I'm gonna
right.
be out and traveling with Laura or something. But it's like I think that's my number one thing: be respectful, be an honest man, kind of get what you want. And I was kind of telling him, and I think the number one thing is I'm always giving him little sayings, stuff that my dad would tell me, or stuff that he would comment on, or just stuff that I've picked up over the years that I think are good life lessons.
Right.
And I mean, if they stick, they stick. If not, I'm honestly I'm trying my hardest to do the best I can,
Yeah.
and it's hard, bro. It's very hard.
Yeah, see, I agree. Like, probably once my son started getting in high school, then it's like now I'm starting to like, oh, dang, like he's getting older. I got to start giving some more, not just be the fun, cool dad or, disciplinarian, but now I got to start like, hey, yeah, you got to learn how to do this or you got to learn how to act in a certain situation. What was it? It was something recently where we were about to go in the thing or whatever. He like just went right in front of a lady and like right when we walked in, I'm like, hey bro, you all never, ever, ever, even if they say like you wait, you let them pass. And just little things like that that I think a lot of kids don't even because I see him, bro. I see him with his friends, and they don't even think about that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff, I want to like, hey, bro, these are the just kind of the ways you should act. You know what I mean? But yeah, it does
And
get
then yeah,
scary. You're right, because as they get older, you're right. We aren't going to be around, and I always feel like if I'm around, yeah, they're never gonna not have a place to stay, or if they need money, you know what I mean? I got them, but it's like, bro, we're not gonna be here forever. What if this
yeah,
podcast takes off and we got to hit the road, me and you? We go on a tour or something. We go across America,
yeah. We're in Thailand every other weekend. What do
Yeah.
you do? You gotta go where the market is. Yeah,
But yeah, so I know as mine gets older too, it starts to, and that's weird because like a girl, you don't really think that. Like, I want my girls to be independent, and I told don't get, don't, I don't. It's not reasonable. My one already has a boyfriend, but you guys got to keep your eyes on right now school or just whatever you want to do to get your career going, and then think about kids or whatever. Just I'm trying
yeah.
to make it easy for you guys. But I don't really think I don't put as much into making sure that they're going to be okay as my son. For some reason, I just always think, oh, the girls will be all right. They'll, da da da. Da. But it's like my son, I'm like I get more like worried about, which that doesn't make no sense because the girls too can, I don't know. I just feel like always the girls can be taken care of more, but that's probably
I,
sexist,
I
right?
I think in my opinion, as far as for the girls, I feel like they're more sensible. Like
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like they're
true.
gonna make
Definitely
the
more
right,
mature.
yeah. And I think with the boys, it's like just because I'm a boy and like I tell the girls boys are stupid, and I know that because I'm a
Hmm.
boy. Watch for this, watch for that, but whatever. And with him, it's like I'm more concerned with him knowing how to do certain things and him like wanting to do certain things. And I remember, like I said, I think I relate with him the most because I remember being that age and like I don't want to do this, I don't want to go out and do this, and I don't like this, and this sucks. And
Yeah,
I'm a little more lenient, I guess, in that sense. But like I said, I mean, it also makes me feel good that he's very open to talk.
talk as much.
When I had to talk about the birds and the bees, like I didn't have the talk about the birds and the bees. I didn't have anything about women, nothing. Everything I
Hey,
learned by doing or by
yeah,
seeing.
bro, I still nobody's had that talk with me. Maybe later you can explain
I,
explain
I
it to
still have
me.
the I still have the pie charts that I brought out, and
Oh, you got pie charts?
yeah, no, but and it's like I don't know. I think I was talking to my sister Rosie like Easter or something. I said, you know what? I had to talk with him, and like I said, I covered a lot. I thought I covered a lot, and then like a couple weeks later, he literally came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Dad, can I talk to you?" And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "But in private." I was like, "All right." So after dinner, we finished, cleaned up, and then we went to go talk. And then he asked me like, "Oh, what's a menstrual cycle?" And I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh,
I was like, okay, cool. And then I taught him as best as I could. I'm like, dude, this, that, and the
shit.
third.
I don't even know what that is, bro.
Hey, I got the bar graph for that one.
I'll just probably look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, you'll probably come on my video.
Hey, that shit's
Hey,
complicated though. Those.
yeah, no, bro, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm like, and I told him, and I after I told him, I said, look, I said, I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you for
Yeah, for him to be
having the
able to
having the
come to
balls
you.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
dude. You know what I mean?
that's
And like I said, he's a very good kid, and he's very very open to stuff like that. And I think one of the things that I try the hardest is positive reinforcement.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah, yeah. That's
with any kid, I mean, you can be a parent. With any kid, you can be a friend, but you need to find a balance because you don't want them to take advantage of you as a friend or not be able to talk to you because you're a parent. You know?
another question. How much? Because they are boys and they are growing, but then how much do you like challenge them? Um, do you try to put your son into like uncomfortable situations or anything like that to see how they react, or to put them in those kind of just to kind of like I said, like to challenge them? Do you do anything like that, or you just or
You
no?
know, you know what? No, I've never done anything. I don't, it's never even crossed my mind. I will say this. I'm very big on letting them crash and burn, the three of them, because I think that does build character and it teaches them how to be resilient. Because come on, dude, like if you have people doing stuff for you all the time, you're not gonna learn how to do it,
Right,
right?
right,
If
right.
you got like what is it called, the bulldozer parent, where they knock everything ahead of you, so nothing's difficult. You don't learn.
And the reason I brought this up because like with my son, I forgot what because he's 16. It's not a big deal. But I think maybe he was maybe 13 or I don't know what his freshman year. And we're like going to the store, or no, he wanted something from the store, but I had picked him up from school. I was in like pajamas. I'm like, he's like, oh, can we go get, I don't know, a Gatorade? Nah, bro, I can't. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm like, you're old enough now. I'm gonna give you my card. You go in it. And he was like, looked like a ghost. Like I'm
What?
asking him to, yeah, go to war or something,
Yeah.
storm D-Day or something. Like, bro, I'm just asking you. And he was like, I was like, here's the card. You've seen me do it 1,000 times. You put it in the thing. Here's my code. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And then he was just like, no, no. He's like, it's all right. I don't, we'll just go home. And then
I,
I was like, no, no. Now you brought it up. Now guess what? You are gonna do it. Now there is no more because now I don't know what I want a monster. So now you are gonna go and do it. And I made
bring
him,
me some
yeah.
laxative.
But that was like where I kind of like, and that's nothing big, but it was like at
Yeah.
that time, at that age, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna challenge him. I'm gonna now there is no. Now you are gonna do it because I saw how scared you were. You got to go and do this. And now, of course, it's no problem. But
Yeah.
just like that, stuff like that.
And I mean, I
Okay.
think it's little stuff like that that gets them comfortable with bigger stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Just
Hey,
pushing past any fear, even if it's something
exactly.
to us that's tiny. To him at that time, that was like climbing, Mount Everest. He made it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
went and used the ATM.
It's like I got
Um,
shot. Can you pull out the bullet?
all right, another question. Sports, and I know Nico plays. Do you? Because I'm kind of mixed on this. I think it is beneficial, but like I don't think it's necessary anymore. But like, what do you think of that about putting kids in sports, teaching them or boys like teaching them about teamwork, how to work with others, how to deal with like pressure and because sports is a lot of pressure too. What's your take on that? Because I know your son plays, but then you said you didn't play. What's your
I
take on that?
I think all of that, everything you just said, it teaches them to work with others, teaches them to be competitive, teaches them, especially once they start like keeping score. Because I know that at the beginning they kind of don't keep score in certain sports.
Right,
But I mean, once you learn how to lose, it'll bring something out of you. Either you don't like
right.
it and you're gonna do something
Exactly.
about it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not very competitive. He is very competitive. He wants to win everything, bro. Mario Kart, Mario Party, Monopoly. I mean, 2K. Like he's constantly trying to play Laura. Hey, come on, mom, let's play. And she gives him
Oh,
she
she's
puts in
good.
work. No, she puts in work. Yeah, yeah. But it's like he wants to be the best. He thinks he can do everything, and I'm like, dude, if you think that, great. But understand that if you don't do it and you lose or you don't win, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like you'll be there. So
And
I totally
there's that fine line between confidence, which is good. You should have confidence in everything, but then also
being cocky.
you don't want to be me, and then you get cocky, and then everybody's after you.
No, I mean, I totally think it's beneficial. I mean, if some people don't have the resources, I get it. Their parents have jobs that
Right.
might not be
Right.
allow it. But if you totally can, I totally think it's beneficial. It will, in the long run, teach them certain values. And I mean, especially depending on where you live. Like we live here in Santa Clarita, dude, and I will tell you this: like you run into the same people.
Oh yeah.
You run into them at the field. You run into them. They might play basketball. You might run into them on the soccer field, and it builds like a sense of community. You know what I mean? Like it's good. Like I didn't have that. I had like you run into somebody you didn't know where I grew up. You probably like get gang banged on. You know what I mean? Like they probably hit you up. Like, well, where you from? Like, nah, like that. So I also
Yeah.
think it's positive in that sense because I mean I didn't like it at first because I was like that's kind of weird, but once I
Yeah.
became not I'm not a pillar in the community like you might be,
Yeah.
but you do start running into people and it's like hey I remember you. Oh yeah, and then
Yeah,
like
that's
I
cool
think
actually. That's
yeah
real
it
cool.
builds like a network I guess.
Right. Okay, so you're for that,
I'm all for it.
and that's another just like you brought up, how you grew up in a tougher neighborhood, and you guys are in a better neighborhood, so you see the differences in that. You think it's better, obviously, right, for him. But then do you also feel like, oh, but then he's maybe not going to be as street smart, or he's not going to know, certain things that you kind of learned growing up, either in the hood or around,
Or
hood
being
family
around
or
people. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
friend. You know what I mean?
I mean, I will say this: he thinks he's like street smart on certain things, And he is certain on certain things where he's like telling me stuff where I'm like, damn, I didn't know that, or I've never heard of that, or whatever. Because I mean, they grew up, it's a different generation. You got everybody trying to be, whatever, like whatever insert, whatever the proper slang term right now is for whoever the hell you want to be as far as being cool or whatever. So
Right.
I think he'll be all right. And I mean, if he's hanging out in the bad neighborhood, then he's gonna learn a lesson that maybe he should be hanging out in the bad neighborhood.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people here in Santa Clarita don't leave Santa Clarita, and if they do,
Yeah.
they go past the valley. They go, party in Hollywood or whatever. But
Right. Right.
I mean, the same thing. I think you just have to learn to adjust.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. And then also have that's something you can help them with. You can kind of show them or tell them about stories or da da da. Or
Yeah, no,
when you're in this kind of area, hey, you gotta chill. Don't be so loud. Don't
yeah, keep your head on a
tuck your
swivel.
tuck your chain in.
Tuck your
Certain
chain, yeah,
things.
come deep out. And no,
Certain
and
things.
that's one thing that I always tell them, dude. Especially now that, like I said, especially like with Cass, when she was his age, and him now that he's at this age, I'm constantly telling him stories like, you know what, when I was your age, dude, I was doing this, I was doing that, and Laura doesn't always like some of the stories I tell him.
Right.
But I tell him straight up, like, look, I keep it real with them because, man, stuff's scary, man. Like, if I can
No.
scare
No.
them
Yeah.
into not doing something because of whatever, then I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna talk to them. I
Bro,
want to have that relationship.
I always take that approach, and maybe I exaggerate some stuff, but I'd rather scare them, scare them straight. Why do you want them to be in any bad situations? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you try to show or tell your son right now that you wish you had gotten as a kid, or maybe just you didn't get enough of it or whatever? Is there anything you can see that you're trying to do different?
I think as of now, I've already, like I said, I've had the birds and the bees talk. Um, I do get a lot of alone time with him, like especially like when he's doing sports. Like I'll take him to practice, and we're driving there, we're driving back, and I just want to be a constant point of like contact, like communication. And I think just with that alone, I mean, it's miles from anything I ever had. You know what I mean? I can't talk to my parents even now. Like I'm like I don't tell them certain things. I just don't communicate with them. I'm there. We talk, and it's usually when something goes bad or something. My mom's feeling sick or my dad, whatever. But I think just being there for him, as far as contact, maybe bounce some information off of me. And like I said, I constantly tell him stories about what I did. I give him like sayings, like dude, like you ask him now, the number one thing, you're a master of your own disaster. That's like
Yeah,
the number
yeah.
one key. That's the number one key in this house. You ask any of the three kids, bro, and they'll tell you that. Like you say, what's the number one thing your dad says? You're a master of your own disaster, and that to me is the most accurate thing I've ever heard. So I always tell them that, like, dude, like you want this thing to be a little disaster, or you want it to be a non-existent disaster. That's up to you. Be responsible for that you do, and that happens, and you know what I mean. And I mean, they know they can come and talk to me, and we'll figure stuff
Yeah.
out. But I think it's just that communication, and just know that anything that you can get yourself into, you can get yourself out of.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I mean?
true.
And I
That
didn't have that
that's
growing up.
actually that's real good. That's a real good one. Anything you get yourself into, it's not as bad as you think. You can get
Exactly.
yourself out, or you can turn something around. Well, it's weird you brought up right now. You were saying something like, "Oh, when I take my son to school, or I take my son to practice, and
Yeah.
we have alone time and all that." And like the other day, because I was like feeling sick. Oh, maybe it was for when I came back on that Monday. Remember I told you I was in bed. And
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, oh, if I got to take my son to school. And at first I was like, God dang it, I don't want I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, I knew I had to take him to school, but I was like, I don't want to go. And then I sat up. And I'm like, damn, bro, I only have one more year, and probably next year he'll be driving, so I won't even be able to. But I'm like, I got up real quick, and I'm like, because that's it, bro. This might be the last year, this school year, that I ever drive him to school. And even that, it's quiet, but we will talk here and there. You know what I mean? Because he's half asleep. But it's like I'm gonna miss those little things because I
Yeah.
literally take him to school every single day, every day of the week. I take him to school, and I'm gonna miss that. Like I know that first day where I don't take him, it's gonna like get up and like,
Damn. What do
oh,
I do now?
yeah. Like I used to be pissed off because I'm tired or it was cold or. And now it's like I would do anything to, drive him to school, that little 10, 15-minute drive. So I think that's a good thing is like, I feel like I'm more present in my kids' life, like not in their lives, but like I'm more present in how you were saying, the communication is good. Like I feel like I can talk to them about anything. Hopefully, I think they can talk to me about anything.
Hey, that reminds me of another saying I have. It's fuck. I hope I don't mess this up. It's your presence is worth more than some presents. You know what I mean?
No,
You can buy
no,
in the world, bro. But as long as you're there,
I'd rather take the gifts.
give me a gift card to Chili's, please.
Hey, you got to start putting some of these sayings on shirts, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. These kids don't know. They know most of them.
Oh, okay. Here's one, and this one's for you. Is it harder to raise a boy? Being I don't know what you consider Chicano or Mexican American, whatever, because of all the like the machismo and oh, you're a Mexican man, you got to slap your chick around, you got to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
drunk every night. You know what I mean? Like, because I could tell you're real sensitive and emotional, which I am too. So I'm not
I, I,
the so, like, what do you think? What do you think about that? Do you take that into account, or are you like, hey, no, be open with your feelings, and
yeah. I don't consider myself sensitive. I think I'm tuned into my emotions. But if you want to call me sensitive,
Well, you said
it's a
yourself.
little, it's a little demeaning.
You said, no, you said you're like, I like to cry. I like to. You said I
that
cry to
was
Iron Man.
that was in the
Hey,
privacy of our conversation in your living room. No, you know what? It's funny you say that because I don't consider myself to be like a machista or like
right, right.
I don't I don't I don't carry myself that way.
So
Um,
you don't slap Laura around at all.
no, she probably kicked me in the face, bro. Sweet chin music, some Shawn Michaels action. Dog.
Yeah, if you, I would tell
Um,
you don't even try it. Don't even try it.
no,
I put the money on her.
you know what? It's funny you say that because my dad, as far as I can remember, he's not he's old school because he's
Yeah.
old. But as far as him and my mom getting into it, I mean, verbal, whatever. It wasn't too crazy. It wasn't like and he. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, he never had the birds and the bees talk. He never really communicated on a personal level. But he never made it seem like what, you're the man. You need to take care of the woman, and if she gets out of line, no, it was never like that. I mean, he showed it to me because, like I said, my mom was a housewife. She never worked. My dad always provided, and being handicapped, being a gardener, never slowed him down. Um, but I think the only thing he kind of passed on to me was that if you want to like keep your woman at home, like
Right.
you're gonna have to pay the bills and pick up all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
slack.
yeah.
And I
No,
think once I realized like shit, like I can't do that, and I don't carry myself like that. And Laura's a very independent woman. She will not stay home and be barefoot and pregnant. I tried to throw her shoes out the window, and she was like, "Hey, get my shoes back in there." You know what I mean? So I don't like I said, I don't have the resources to like keep her at home, and even if I did, I don't think she would be okay
she
with
would
it. I
want to.
think
Yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think just as and I mean, like I said, I'm not. I my dad to me didn't pass that on, so I don't have that. Like I said, I the number one thing in this house is taking care of these strong, independent women by not being it's typical. I guess machista. I guess I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't. I tell Nico like, dude, like respect women, but at the same time, make sure they respect you.
Right, right, right. Both
You know what I
ways.
mean? There's one thing to be machista, but it's another thing to be a pushover. Like, come on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
like, gotta find a
you don't
balance. Balance.
yeah, you don't seem to come off as, either one, right in the middle. Okay, a little different question. What do you feel is your worst trait as a father? Like something you're like, oh man, I know I need to work on that. Or is there anything? Are you trying to say you're perfect?
I'm the perfect dad. I don't know if you saw my on the cover of Time magazine. Now, you know what? The one thing I will say this. Oh, you know what about
And it doesn't have to be your work. It just could be some. I know I need to work on
something
that.
needs
Something I want to get better at. You know what I mean?
so no, you know what? I know we've had this conversation. I told you my dad was very rough. As far as when I would help him or when I needed to do something with him, around the house. And I told you, like, at a certain point, I was like, dude, like, I don't think I should be doing this, but you know, he felt that I needed to do it, maybe because he couldn't do it anymore. But I think the number one thing was just that lack of communication, especially when you're helping him, was very, very rough. Was very, very like, damn it, like, well, I don't understand. Like, I mean, obviously in Spanish, right? But like,
Yeah.
he would tell me, like, basically, like, I don't know why you don't know how to do this and blah blah. And then as a kid, you know, your dad is like your dad. Like, oh shit, like I would think, like, dude, like maybe he's right. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, why can't I do this? You know what I mean? But then when I got older, I was like, well, like we're roofing a house. Like, I don't. I'm only 10. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And I think that's probably the one thing is with him. I don't remember what we were doing. We were fixing something around the house, and I caught myself yelling at him like that,
At your
what's wrong?
son?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
he must
Yeah.
have been like 9 or 10,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
found myself
shit.
yelling at him like, hey, like, and I said, and I literally, like, I had to go apologize to him. I said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I fucking, I blew my top off. I didn't mean that. And that is one thing that every now and then will come out, like, dude, and like I'll tell him, like, dude, what's wrong with you? And I'm like maybe not phrase it like that, maybe work on that, and just kind of like,
Right.
hey, here, let me show you the correct way to do it, or let me,
Yeah.
if you don't know, tell me.
No, that's exactly 100% mine too. I have to catch myself. Sometimes I'm just like I'm in a bad mood and I know like I'm not in a good mood, maybe work or I'm tired or I'm not feeling good and I have to and I can tell he can see I'm in that kind, I'm quiet. I'm not cracking jokes like I normally am. And then he says something and I kind of, you know, get real short, real da 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 da. And I have to force myself to like, man, you can't because your kids look up to their dad, like how you said your dad was rough, but you still
Yeah,
look up to like my dad always, all the way up through high school. I always looked up to like he was always bigger and he was a big dude, and it was like I always felt comfortable. I always felt safe, like oh that's my
yeah,
dad. Even if he was ever rough or we didn't communicate the best, I still always felt like protected. Like oh, if I'm with my dad, everything's cool. Like there's nothing. I feel safe. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So your kids,
he
yeah,
kind
go
of
ahead.
does, kind of does command that, because I remember he's fucking tall.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's the tallest one. But I remember,
Right.
yeah, he would tower dude over people.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like, I do that too. I have to catch myself. I do the exact same thing you do is where I'll catch myself and like, come on, man, just force yourself to, not take out, because your kids look up to you. And I still remember stuff they've said to me like out of anger or whatever. And I can remember it like verbatim what they said. So I know if I snap at them, they're going to, 20 years from now, like, oh, remember I was just coming home from school and just asked my dad what was for dinner and he bit my head off. So I
what the
don't
hell's
ever
wrong?
want I don't ever want to have them have
Yeah.
those bad memories. I want all the memories to be good or stuff I've taught them. So I think I have that same thing. I mean, that's hard though because that's just being a human being. We all have bad days or whatever. You can't be that perfect. You can't be. What was the dad from Wonder Years you loved?
Oh man,
Uh,
my bro, my spirit animal,
hey, but he used to get heat. He used to get heated too, though.
Jack Arnold, bro. I'm telling you, you need to watch that. And then I'm like, when I was a kid, I watched it and I just thought, yeah, I was like, oh my, that guy, he's a dick.
No, you
And
know
then I
what
was,
though? I like how you said you watched it with your son. I'm gonna watch it with my son. I'm gonna do it this summer when we're
bro,
on break.
bro,
How many seasons though? 7? I can't do more than
I think
that.
like 6 or 7. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But they're half-hour episodes, bro, and they go
Oh, they
quick.
are? I thought they were
Yeah,
hour. Okay.
I know
Yeah,
they're half-hour.
I'm gonna do that with my son. I think my daughters, one of them already watched it because they watched all those real
Yeah.
old weird. But like, I haven't seen that show since. I don't even remember how it ended. I don't even remember how it ended. Did
Oh, you
somebody
don't.
die?
I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but yeah,
Well,
yeah,
his
yeah.
dad died. The dad died in real life too, right? Didn't he?
No, no, he's still alive. He's still alive.
No, are you
The
serious?
actor that plays his dad,
Yeah.
yeah, he's alive inside of me, dog. No, he's still alive. Yeah, yeah, he's still alive,
Watch that, and then we'll have a whole episode on that talking about because there's tons of shit go into that.
bro. It's like that's endless. That's endless material right there, dog.
No,
For
that
me,
was a great show, bro. That was a great show, and the way it started, like the first episode when he was that fool was like 4 years old, and then all of a sudden by the end he's fool looked like he was 35. Kevin, let's make this the last one. Okay, so once you're gone, which I can already tell what you're gonna say because you've already given some of those answers, but once you're gone and let's say your son with your daughters is talking one day, remembering you, what do you think they're gonna say, or your son specifically is gonna say about you? Like the best thing, you know what I mean? Like that you taught him, or what he remembers most, or or not even what you think he'd say, what you hope that he would
Yeah,
say.
exactly. I was about to go off. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I would hope. I would hope he says that I was a good man. I was full of wisdom, and I shared that wisdom with all three of them. I hope that he's grateful that I'm gonna teach him how to snake a drain. And I don't know, man. I mean, just how I hope he thinks I'm hardworking. I hope he thinks I'm funny. I hope he thinks that I'm a good guy. I am very certain that he knows I love his mom. Um, I want him to feel like that I do love her. I want him to feel that I'm respectful of her, and I want him to be able to be like, you know what, and that was somebody I could talk to whenever I needed to talk to.
Yeah,
Because to me, that communication is like number one.
good. That's, I mean,
But
that's the same, basically the same for me. I want them, him or him especially, to feel like I always had his back. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, like my grandma, before she passed, or since she's passed, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I feel like that's the one person that like never judged me, always had my back no matter what. Like, your parents are going to get mad, you do this, hey, you need, I felt like my grandma just, it didn't matter. I could come home and like, hey, I killed somebody. Hey, don't don't worry
damn.
about it. We'll get it. Like, I always feel like she had my back no matter what. And I want my kids or my son to feel that exact, like I had his back no matter what. There was nothing you could do to ever, change that. And you're right, the communication. Like, I hope they're adults calling me and, hey, I had a bad day at work. What should I do? Oh, here's what you do, man. Let me tell you about what I would. You know what I mean? If I have that, bro, I'm good.
I think that's one of the main things that I actually hope and I mean I kind of look forward to in the future is when they're gone, dude, and they call you like, hey, dad, blah blah. Like you said, I had a bad day at work. I'm dealing with this coworker, whatever, whatever. Like, what do you think? And just to be able to like help them, dude, when they are full functioning adults, like because like I said, I don't have that, bro. Like I can't call my mom and be like, hey, she's gonna be like, first thing she's gonna tell you, well, why did you do that, or whatever. You know what I mean? And my dad, fuck, I can't call him. Like, so I think whatever I lack, I hope that I can give them. That's kind of the number one.
And just to end it on that point, but do you think also that because of, you said, your dad, you could never really talk to about certain things, but that probably is what formed you. You could have went two ways. You could have either kept it going, and then to your kids, if I, what do you want? Go talk to your mom. I just got off work. I'm trying to enjoy my Bud Light,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. I'm trying to
but
be gay in the garage.
yeah, but see it that you had two ways to go. You had to go that way, but you obviously it had an effect on you, and you went the opposite. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, I think it's funny that like you brought up this topic like of the whole episode or whatever, but I think the parenthood side literally like drew me in. I think once I became a parent, like I said, okay, this is what I am gonna do. The stuff that I can control, the stuff that I can't do, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. The rest of it, you're playing it by ear, and I feel like the stuff that I didn't have or I wanted and I didn't get, I'm gonna give them, and I don't want them to grow up without that
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
life's
yeah.
hard, bro. When you don't have anybody to talk to, you're like dealing with shit and like man, like I don't know. I just think I want to be there for them because that was the job that I was given. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right.
I,
Yeah,
I
oh yeah,
chose
yeah.
I
That's
chose
how
I chose to enter this
exactly.
hood.
Bro, it was some rapper or something, or maybe it was like some sports dude, and he was like, "Oh, I know I spoil my kids. I give them whatever they want. I get da 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 da." And I mean, I don't agree with that because you don't want to raise them spoiled. But then when the interviewer asked him like, "What? Why?" He was like, "Because they had no choice in coming into this world. Like they didn't have a choice. This was
Yeah,
me, and I don't know if it was the mom or maybe it was just they're not together, whatever. But it was like we brought them in.
yeah.
So why the hell am I not going to give them everything they need? You know what I mean? They didn't choose this. We chose them, and then we're going to screw them over. And I was just like, damn, that's right, man. They didn't ask to be brought into the, they didn't ask to be over here and me pissed off or me fighting with, none of that. They didn't ask for that. And I
Oh
try to think
well,
of that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm having, like I was saying, the bad day or I need to do, I want, like my son wants a Nintendo Switch. And I'm like, fuck, $600. But I'm like,
shit.
but you know what? I start thinking of like, I want him to be happy. I want to give him everything I can. Now I'm going to try to make him work for it. I'm going to try to make him earn it, um, but it's like, I never thought I would be the happiest when I'm giving them like Christmas. I get more joy out of them opening the stuff than even they
Oh
get.
yeah,
They're
for
like,
sure.
oh, this is cool, and I'm just like, oh, they're about to open these shoes. Oh, I'm getting like it's my, you know what I mean? Like I'm more happy than when I was a 12-year
Yeah.
old opening gifts. So it's like I love that. Like bringing them joy is like brings me the most joy, and I'm sure you
You know
feel
what?
the same way.
No, well that reminds me of two things that come to mind when you said that. One, I heard this on a TV show where it was like they didn't ask to be born, but they do ask to be loved, and that shit blew my mind, dude. I was like, oh my god, that's right. And then the other one is like one of my old coworkers. Shout out Jose. He told me this, and I was like, dude, it blew my mind too. He's like, this is voluntary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This it wasn't like this was these kids were dropped off on your doorstep. Like this is voluntary. You signed up for this. It's not their fault if you're having a bad day. It's not their fault. Whatever. But it's like teach them young to be what you think they should be, and it's
Right,
hard
right.
because there's some days, like you said, like you come home and you're tired and whatever, and they all they know is they're happy you're home.
Right, right,
You
right,
know
right,
what I
right,
mean? Like
right. That's what I was
that,
saying earlier. Is
that's
like when your dad comes home, you're just like they're, larger than life. You know
yep.
what I mean? Um, but yeah, that's a good point. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to just give them all the tools, everything they need to be successful. Will they be? I don't know. It's up. In the end, it is up to them. But we got to
Hey,
do everything we can. You're sending your kids off to war. You got to make sure they got everything they need to be
you give them,
successful.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
So that
You don't
that's
send,
that's
you don't
my
send them with a Swiss Army knife.
that's my yeah.
Yeah, and
can't
they're
take
like, oh
can't take
man, I
a
should have
can't can't take a knife to a gunfight. Come on, bro.
exactly.
But anyways, that's why I wanted to do this because I feel like me and you were kind of on the same path. You know what I mean? And we got some good, some other good fathers too. So I was like, hey, why don't we start this? Let's start talking about issues like this that we can knock out. It'll be a little bit more authentic than cracking jokes about me trying to bang, running the streets, and Desiree mad at me, but
Uh, yeah. But you know what?
um,
Also, I think it's a good look at both sides because I mean, like I said, like it's crazy to me, and I was actually thinking about this earlier. Like you and I have not spoken since before we reconnected, probably since we were like I don't know, maybe like I was probably 9, and you were probably like 11 or something. And to be able to just reconnect and just kind of just click, like
but
there's so
don't you
many
think it's
similarities.
because we have, yeah, exactly. We have a lot,
And that, and
similar.
that and that's
Forget all the
crazy.
Aguilar stuff. That is true, but yeah, we have a lot of. As soon as I started talking, I was like, oh, this dude's first off, same sense of humor, funny, but then you're also, you're serious and real, and I was like, oh, I like that. And then I could tell how like dedicated you are to your kids. As soon as I saw it, I
But
was like, oh, okay, I like
but you
that.
don't think that comes off the Aguilar gene?
I mean, the older generation that I was around, all my dad and brother, and all his brothers and sisters, no, it was more of that old school. Like the dads were just go to work and you know,
Maybe it was off of the mom side. Food.
I
I'm telling you, man, because my dad, which is the Aguilar side, he wasn't. He was about certain things, and I mean, I don't know if I picked up certain things, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm just trying
I
to.
mean, it could be. I don't know. It's hard to.
I mean, I'm just trying to
There's
find that
definitely something there because as soon as we started hanging, I was like, oh, okay, Aguilar, and we grew up different. I just felt a lot of like similarities in the way we think,
which is crazy
especially
to me.
like and the sense of humor, bro. I don't remember what party it was. I was just cracking up. Maybe it was that one at Loopy's house where we were just sitting there just drinking. I was just cracking up. You were cracking me up. I was like, this fool's funny. I told Desiree not a lot of people can make me laugh. Maybe my buddy Roni,
Calm down.
my other buddy Scott, and then probably you. You know,
It's like
like
put the tomatoes away. Put the tomatoes away.
really, really, really make me laugh. So yeah. But I think we got a little something here, bro. So we'll keep it going
Yeah,
with
man.
this kind of style. You know, I like this. Like it's more serious, it's more real, and we could do some funny shit here and there too. But I like this.
I
This is
think
good.
I
Oh,
think
before we go, too, shout out to Mike. This was a cigar he brought me when we filmed that sports episode, and
oh, no.
I cracked it today because I'm like, if it goes any longer, it's gonna get stale. But shout out to Mike. Thank you. Appreciate it. I owe you one next time. Next time I come around, I'm going to bring you one. This is a good cigar, man. We're real good.
It's like next time don't leave it in the ashtray in the bathroom.
All right. Any closing comments?
Man, hug your kids, man. Hug your kids.
Yeah.
Appreciate, love them.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Don't talk down to them.
Yeah.
No,
Don't talk at them.
talk to them. Don't talk at them. There you go.
Yeah.
Man. Remember, number one, they're kids. They're human.
Right.
You know, I mean, they can't all handle stress. They can't handle emotion. You know, and if you talk to them, you'll they'll talk back, and if you listen, you'll.
I agree. And especially as they get older, too. My daughters now open up a lot more. They definitely talk to
And
me more than I talk
about
to
stuff
my
that I would
parents.
never talk to my parents about.
Right.
I would never talk to them. Even now, as I'm 45, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, why are you telling me this? Like, I love it. Like, yes,
Yeah. No,
let's have
I
some more.
agree. Yeah. No, I love that, too.
Shout out my kids.
Shout out my kids. Shout out everybody's kids, man. That's hey, you know what? I'm gonna go make one right now, real quick. All right, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go make one. I'm just
Wow.
kidding.
It's like I'm at the door.
All right, bro. You sent me like 4 or 5 subjects, so we got a lot of stuff. I think we should go to once a week if you're down.
Hey, man, I'm done.
I don't want to, because I know you got younger kids. You know, my son don't care. He goes in his room, but so you just tell me when's good on your schedule. If it's good like this at night after you put him to bed or whatever.
Yeah, well, as long
I'm
as
good with
Cass is
that.
here, she can put him down.
Okay. All right.
Like,
So
I mean, it's just one.
yeah.
Like, he's out by like eight.
What time does Nico go? Oh, he doesn't have like a early
No, he
bedtime?
goes to bed at about 10ish,
Okay.
and then on the weekends it's different. But I mean, like I said, whenever you're down, bro, let me know.
And then I want to do that drinking one, but we should do that on a Saturday night. Remember the one under the influencers, right? Hey, and we'll lay out a bunch of drinks. It'll be good, bro. All right, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it, but don't hang up.